Hello, I'm Dan.
And I'm Simon.
And this is the Wikicast, a podcast where Wikipedia takes us to a random article each week and we talk about what we find. Simon, what are we talking about this week?
This week, Daniel, we're talking about Billy Austin.
Of course we are.
I'll give you his full name, Sidney William Austin.
Oh God, this changes everything.
Yeah, do you want to have a guess about what he did?
Can I have a clue? Can I have a vowel, please?
You can have a vowel, and that vowel is O.
Okay, can I have a consonant, please?
F.
Is he a frog?
No, he's an English, so not French. He was an English professional footballer who played professionally for Norwich City, Manchester City, and Chesterfield. And he was born in 1900, so I guess that's why he was called Sidney William Austin, because I don't think you'd ever get a football player called that these days.
The more you know.
And he played 160 times for Man City, scoring 43 goals.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
How long did he play for them for?
He played for Man City. It doesn't have dates when he was at Man City. It was 160 times for them, and in total he made 358 appearances and scored 86 goals across all of his clubs. And he had just the one England cap.
Heavens!
It said Brexit means Brexit, and it was in red because that's the colour he wants his passport to be. God damn it! Sorry, was it blue?
It's going to blue.
Yes, it's going to blue because that's why we did it, guys. That was the only reason why we did that referendum. Yeah. We just didn't want all the extra millions of pounds that we net gained from the EU. There's not very much to talk about here. I as we talked last time, the Church of Clarktholicism is very much a you take what you can get kind of philosophy. And I thought that I'd be pretty hypocritical if I didn't do that this time round. So you've reaped the rewards of that. I don't want to shit all over your ideological views, but I don't want to say who probably produces the better article. I mean, I'm not going to lie, this isn't terribly interesting. There is actually a little thing at the bottom that says this biographical article, is a stub, but it's specifically related to English football. There's a little icon that somebody's gone to the trouble of making, which is a little football with a St. George's cross over it, which is quite sweet, really.
That's nice. End on a high. Every shitty Wikipedia article has a silver lining. I mean, in this case, it's an icon.
We could expand this a little bit because at the bottom. It's a bunch of categories that this page belongs to. We have 1900 births, as in people who were born in the year 1900, and also
not just a selective 1900 people who were born.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting article, and I think someone should definitely create that. Although, as we learned last time, there's a whole list of things that you shouldn't do on Wikipedia.
That's probably one of them.
And then there's another category, which is people who died in 1979. Now, I'll give you the choice. Which one would you like for me to click on and to see if we can find someone interesting?
The second one, please.
So people who died in 1979. Let's have a look. Oh my God, so many people died. I mean, this page only...
year, sorry?
1979.
79?
Oh my God, there's so many people.
Are these people from where again?
This is just anybody in the world who was important who died in 1979. And the first page only goes down to all of the letter A and the first 7 people whose name begins with B. Oh my God, there was a mathematician, a rugby unioner, another footballer who was born in 1913. It's kind of fun.
Any noteworthy musicians?
Oh my God. The problem is, if they were particularly noteworthy, they probably don't have musician or composer in their name, which is what I'm looking for.
No, that's true.
And also, this assumes that their name begins with A. And a lot of people beginning with A died. I mean, I can't see anyone here's name I recognise. Interestingly, there's someone whose name is in italics.
His name is Alex.
No, is their name... Oh, hang on.
We're just breezing over my really awful pun there. But
yeah,
okay.
I deliberately breezed over that. Thank you.
That's nice. I thought it was quite good. You said it's Alex.
I mean, I wish that their name was actually Alex. I just clicked on the link and I was really hoping that was the case, but no, unfortunately.
Sad times, everyone.
So this article. This is way more interesting. This is an article for Louis Abernathy and Temple Abernathy, who were children from Oklahoma who, without adult supervision, took several cross-country trips. On one trip, they rode on horseback from Oklahoma to Manhattan when they were 10 and 6 years old, respectively.
Wow.
Yeah!
You said that, and I didn't really listen. And then I thought I listened to what you'd said back again in my head, namely the age, and kind of lost it.
Yeah, I mean, this again is a relatively short article. They had an interesting life. It seems that they kind of did more and more of this. Apparently, in 1911, they accepted a challenge to ride on a horseback from New York to San Francisco in 60 days or less. They definitely mean fewer. They agreed to not eat or sleep indoors at any point of the journey, and they collect $10,000 if they succeeded, but they did it in 62 days, and so didn't get given the prize, but set a record for the trip.
Well done them.
Wow.
Well done Temple. Also Temple.
Yeah, strong name.
What a cool name.
Temple Abernathy. That's a wizard's name.
When they were at school together, it would have sounded like they were reading off like interesting geographical destinations. Abernathy Temple.
No, that's a tube station if I've ever heard one. Abernathy Temple.
What you need to do is get on the curtains line, change at Abernathy Temple, and then rejoin the skirting board line to zip of coat.
And you've got to be careful if you're doing that the Grommet service only runs on the second Wednesday of the month. So if you're doing that, you have to go through Mornington Crescent and then you get to Abernathy Temple.
I mean, that is. Are we playing old boys rules? Because if we're not,
transept diagonals are allowed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's a very niche reference to anyone who gets Mornington Crescent.
I spent so long as a kid trying to work out the rules of that game. For those of you who don't listen to, I'm sorry I haven't a clue. This is like a long running, and I mean like 40 or 50 years this thing's been going on, this radio show on Radio 4. And it was a bit like, what's it called? It's the antidote to panel games, is how it's described. It's a panel show where there's like the same 4 people every time, and then there's an extra guest that they rotate. And they just play stupid party games, basically. And one of them, the other ones I should point out, it's stuff like trying to sing one song to the tune of another.
Which is amazing. As kind of music fans, there's some really, really excellent ones there. I'm trying to remember some good, like Rob Brydon.
Oh, he can sing as well.
Comedian. Yeah, exactly. He did, and they always choose like a Tom Jones song because his impression is pretty flawless.
Yeah. Well, by his impression, do you mean his singing? Like he can just sing like Tom Jones. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
And it would be stuff like Swanee kazoo, when you do a musical cover and you have to play the kazoo and then the other person has a Swanee whistle, or you'd have like Uxbridge English Dictionary, which would be giving alternative definitions for words like tarmac, Scottish gratitude.
Yeah.
Or trumpet, a small bigot, and stuff like that. And then there was this other game called Mornington Crescent, where, as a kid, what I'd heard, was a series of tube stations on the London Underground named one after the other, and then eventually someone would say Mornington Crescent and would win. And they would go into this by saying, yep, so we're not allowing, because we're playing the King Edward rules, we're not allowing switchbacks on the flip-flop line. And then there'd be kind of like a from the panelists, and there'd be a different new rule that they introduce every week, and you would sit there trying to work out what the they were doing. And of course, as an adult, they're making it up as they go. They're just naming random tube stations.
Yeah, and making up random rules as well, being like, I believe, given that we are playing King Edward rules, if you're approaching another player from a southeasterly direction, you actually have to forfeit your turn and move back 4 stations. And they just take it in their stride. They go, oh, yes, so cool. Oh, how could I be so stupid?
Yeah, or someone would say something and the audience would as a whole go, ooh, Chinese fireball.
Yeah. Chinese fireball. Ooh.
Or like the guest would come in with one and they'd be like, well, she's new. Like, she'll learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... that bloody game. Anyway, I feel like we haven't actually drawn attention to our tangents in quite a while. Although we did talk about tangents of a different kind last time around. I was actually humor. What we were talking about before we started. We were talking because I just put out a video as of recording this. I thought
when you were erring there, you forgot what this was. You're like, before we started this the Wikicast, Simon, our podcast that we do every week.
I'm getting old. All right, the older I get, the less I remember.
You are getting old. Speaking of getting old, I'm also getting old very, very soon, and it's very scary. Next week, in fact, next Wednesday. My good heavens!
What are you doing for your big 1-0? Are you?
My big 1-0. I'm allowed to cut the cake myself.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm officially allowed to run with scissors because once you're after the age of 10, it's completely fine. No, my 21st. Hugo and I are having a big thing. There's a really nice cocktaily bar-y place in Exeter called the Monkey Suit.
Yeah.
Interestingly, if there's any, this could be quite funny actually. If there's any people in Exeter who are listening, and you're free on the 23rd, Friday the 23rd, from 7:30, come to the Monkey Suit. It's got 180 people capacity. I doubt we'll fill it. So if you want to come along, you can come along.
And Dan will buy you a drink. What? What was that?
Yeah. Whoa. Steady. You can buy me a drink. It's my birthday. F you.
Yeah, there you go. F you. It's his birthday. Oh, nice. Very nice. Yes, I forgot about that actually. Because I'm away. It's I'm down this week because I'm recording something for the Chapel Choir, and then I'm back again doing some Messiah stuff with you in like a couple of weeks. But I'm all over the place at the moment. I am absolutely all over the place. I sang some Messiah
today, Simon.
Oh, what did you sing?
I sang "Comfort Ye."
Comfort ye. I know what this is about, but we agreed that we weren't going to talk about this on the stream. I nearly said.
Yes, it's going to be. We're going to keep it cryptic, but yeah. Dan did some singing today and got quite nervous.
Basically, Dan's going for something, and we think he's going to get it, mostly because he broke the legs of the competitors.
Yeah, I did.
I taught him well, and yeah, that's all we'll say on the matter. But I'm glad that what you said earlier to me before we recorded. I'm glad it went well, and it was a great piece to do. Actually, I was listening to some Bach actually today, and I was like, oh, if I need to do like a audition, that would be a good one to do. The Et Spiritu Sanctu. From the Credo from Bach's Mass in B minor. I was like, oh, that's very nice.
I've been listening to the Gloria on repeat, and I'm also teaching some movements from the St. Matthew Passion tomorrow with Exeter University singers. Plug.
Speaking of that's very nice, did you see what Tom Scar has done to his hair?
I have. That's not very nice.
I think it kind of works. I think it suits...
I think he looks a bit like a pineapple. I mean, I love him. Don't get me wrong. And I see the reasoning why, and it's exciting. And I need to build up the courage to dye my hair. I do want to do it at some point. But yeah, it's a bold choice. It's a very bold choice.
It's one of those things that you can only really do when you're young, though, isn't it? For the record, for those of you who don't know, Tom Scar, the YouTuber. But as in, I've been thinking of doing it, like the idea that you can only really get away with dyeing your hair a shocking, like, uniform color. You can't do that when you're like 40, you know. Yeah. For reference, for those that don't know, Tom Scar or Tom Ridgewell is a YouTuber who has just had what I would consider pretty normal brunette hair his entire life, and now has just dyed it, like bleached it completely, like shocking white. It's a look. And I don't know. It's like, maybe I will dye my hair at some point. I wouldn't want to go for like the stereotypical YouTuber blue or red. I think
or silver.
Oh yeah, well the PewDiePie
silver's very popular, and that's exactly what I want to do.
Oh yes, you do. Do you think you could look like Geralt from The Witcher 3, the early years?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll just grow my hair out again. He says again, and those photos will never be public available. But
never. Although speaking of which, did you see the amazing live stream which your forehead?
Oh my god!
Did
okay? Everyone, gather round. Something amazing happened. It was yesterday.
Which one? There have been 2 sets of live streams.
Oh, I've only seen the first one.
Oh, okay. So the first one was like 3-4 days ago. I posted the day before. I shared the picture of Dan and I as Sims characters on the Wikicast Facebook page.
I believe it's your Simon's thesis beard.
No, it's your forehead that
it's my forehead
that did the streaming. The meme came from my beard. We have
my
amazing fans.
Yeah, both my forehead and Simon's thesis beard they both have Twitter accounts, but the forehead also has a YouTube channel, and what I can only describe as something truly beautiful and awe-inspiring happened, whereby Simon and I were recreated in The Sims.
You were way too tall. You were way too tall.
Yeah, I mean, you were also...
I was a thick boy.
Yeah, it was very funny.
I looked like William Riker mixed with Mr. Spock. Like I had the evil beard, and then I had like massive ears for some reason.
I looked like that guy who played the villain in Spy Kids Island of Lost Dreams, which is a very niche. Like, I appreciate that I'm trying to give an example, and that's quite possibly the nichest example I can give.
Is that the first one?
Like him. Yeah, Spy Kids 1, I think.
The guy with the flugels. Hang on, I'm going to have to look up the name of that actor.
The flugel, yeah, and the thumbs.
The thumbs. Pixel Girl and I watched Spy Kids last Valentine's Day, and I think this coming weekend I might have to watch Spy Kids 2 with her because it's kind of hilarious.
And then you've got to watch Spy Kids 3D, and then you've got to watch Spy Kids 4D.
Oh, I forgot there was a 4D. Yeah.
And then Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which I think was the same production company.
No. Oh, okay. Right, I'll have to check that. The guy you're thinking of is Alan Cumming.
That's yeah. Now he's not. I thought he looks like someone who's a very famous ballet dancer, male ballet dancer.
No, he's not. He's done a fair bit on stage, but he's not a ballet dancer.
He was recently. The only reason I know is because when the National Portrait Artist of the Year, which is just one of the many exciting television shows that Dan watches.
You are so old. Yes, go on.
They featured him, and there's like a spitting image of each other. I forget his name. Somebody's going to write in. Please write in or tweet me as to who the guy I'm thinking of. He's I think he's Scottish, but he might be Irish, but they're basically all the same. He's foreign. And he's a really famous, it could be American. I don't know. Basically, he did a lot of ballet, and he's really, really cool and very interesting guy, but he looks exactly like Alan Cummings.
Oh my God. Next. He was in GoldenEye. He was that guy. He is the guy that, yes, he gets frozen in liquid light stream. He's like, I'm invincible, and then gets frozen. It's that guy. I did not know that. Anyway, yes, you look like him with lipstick and a very tasteful hat. But the thing that surprised me the most was... Actually, two things surprised me the most, which is a kind of a paradox. One, I wasn't expecting your forehead to be a girl. I don't know why. I just assumed it was a guy, because you're a guy, I think.
Wait, I didn't know this.
Yeah, because the second live stream, she had a microphone and was talking over what she built us a house. And
I haven't seen this.
Yeah,
this is exciting. Okay.
Now, admittedly,
I'm going to watch that this evening.
The lag was pretty terrible. Like it's almost, you can't really watch it. But I know that she went over to Twitch to stream.
Don't be too harsh, mate. Tell us how you feel.
No. She was like, on the stream I was listening, and she was like, oh my God, this is so bad. And there was like a minute, literally a minute delay between what she did and what we saw. So she moved over to Twitch. But yeah, like a girl with a very nice voice. I was like very. Very, very easy to listen to. I've got to say, I think there's a market for your forehead to do audiobooks.
Wow, how exciting!
So I was going to say the second thing which surprised me.
I will also be having to take. I mean, any profits made, I will have to take a 60% cut because that is the majority of my forehead that makes up my person.
But the other thing which surprised me the most was that there were only, I think, 6 people watching, and I know for a fact that we have
like this podcast.
I mean, we have 2,000 people who listen to this podcast on the regular. Like,
yeah, but how many stay listening after the intro? They hear our voices and turn it off.
Yeah, it's just the new 2,000 people every time, minus those 6 or 7 people. But I will include a link down in the description to the Twitch and the YouTube. We should absolutely support this because I thoroughly encourage the posting and the terrible quality memes, which are amazing. And
also the synthesizing SATB 4-part harmony pieces. The Es ist ein Ross Sprungen was absolutely amazing. It brought me much joy. I cried. It was lovely.
Yeah, and then we had that remix recently, as I said at the start, of the Wikicast theme, which was fantastic. Like it was my friend Alex, who Thermoflynamics is his, he hates being called, listened to it and was like, this is really good. Like this is really well mixed. Yeah. So I think we should absolutely support this. There's like a real nucleus of the fandom. It was really cool. I was looking in the chat and watching that live stream. There was your forehead. There was my beard. There was Judith Dawson, because the American lady from last week that we talked about, she has her own Twitter account now.
Yeah.
As does Bobby Dawson, her son. They were in the chat. We also had Hannah Muller, who writes us fan fiction, and we actually do have a fan fiction from her this week, funnily enough. She has promised that it is better.
I don't know whether to be scared or excited.
She's promised that it is not like the previous one where Dan and I had really quite graphic sex. So
how you remind me. Hang on, I'm just going to be a little bit sick.
Past the mind bleach, but we had all these people in the chat, and it was great. I love the interactions with you guys, the people who listen to this, our dear readers, is the best. So I think maybe forehead, next time you're streaming, let me know, and I will, for one, see if I can kind of join you and in this endeavor to build us a house, because I think it sounds absolutely hilarious. Thoroughly entertaining. I can't recommend it enough. Again, there'll be a link in the show notes for this.
The thing that I love is that we've been around long enough now that we're starting to almost warrant our own wiki.
I was just thinking that. When are we going to get our own Wikipedia?
How gloriously meta would that be to explain the in-jokes and to explain the sign-offs and the kind of the documenting the history of... I mean, you know, if you're a dedicated reader and you've got some free time on your hands, feel free to create wikicast.wiki.com.
Oh, you actually mean like a full-on wiki?
I mean, let's go the whole hog. If we're going to do this, let's settle in.
I assumed you meant like create a Wikipedia page for the Wikicast, as in one day maybe we'll randomize and get it. You actually want full Wikipedia?
Let's sprint before we're even born, Simon. Let's just go. Let's just pump those legs in the womb, like.
Well, if Mark Kermode and Simon Mayer have their own, their radio show has a wiki all of its own.
Yeah.
Then, you know, why can't we? I mean, the answer is that we get way, 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 way fewer listeners. But why can't we, really?
But we also have way, way, way better listeners, so we can make up for it.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that we were going to talk about?
I mean, I just tried to cast my mind back and I just had 1900 dead people. Just that phrase flashed through my mind. So as far as tangents go, we're outdoing ourselves today.
Oh, that was the thing. I'm looking at it now. Just what I said to begin with was that I had the video go out. If you haven't seen it, I did a video about going from primary school to PhD and a story of my Viva. And basically, it's really interesting to me. I love the back end of YouTube. It's got a lovely arse. And it also gives you fantastic statistics.
Get a look at his arse.
Did you hear about that, by the way? There was a case of, in the West Country, a swan was on the loose and a police officer had to catch it.
Oh my God.
It was all over Twitter, and there's a picture of this police officer holding up a swan wrapped in his police jacket.
Was the headline
no luck catching them swans?
When did you want to become a policeman officer? When did you want to become a policeman officer? Nice.
The West. It's so true. That film hit the nail on the head.
This episode is proudly sponsored by the film Hot Fuzz. We'd like to thank Simon Pegg and Thingy Frost,
Nick Frost, and Edgar Wright.
I nearly
of course.
said Jack, but that's a different guy.
Very, yeah. I mean, again, I extend my offer of Edgar Wright. If you ever, for some reason, end up listening to this podcast, we bloody love your work, and in particular, as a boy from the West Country like yourself, it would be so f***ing cool to have you on here. Dan will give you a handy.
I extend that offer to not the offer of a hand job, but the invitation to Wes Anderson. Oh my God, if I could talk to you. That'd be the coolest thing ever. He's also, not only does he make amazing films, and also there's currently a retrospective going on.
Yes, he said. Yes.
Yeah, it's it's super cool. But he's also just the trendiest fashion guy ever, which makes me love him even more. Because I would just, if I was a little bolder, I would dress like him every day.
Yes, I was waiting for that. He dresses weird, guys. That's why Dad is saying that.
He's just groovy.
Who else would you want to meet and have on the podcast? If we had a wish list of guests that we could invite on the podcast.
Stephen Fry. I desperately want Stephen Fry. I adore.
For filmmakers, filmmakers specifically. I definitely say Denis Villeneuve.
Good shout. Good shout.
Although incredibly sad news. Did you hear about Johan Johansson?
No.
So this is the guy who did the music for Sicario and for Arrival and for The Theory of Everything, who just very unexpectedly died the other day. 3 or 4 days. He was only, I think, 49.
That's sad.
Just all of a sudden. Really, really sad. I'd highly encourage. I'll leave a Spotify link to the playlist. The album for the for Arrival. Actually, I think that's more representative of his work than The Theory of Everything. He was a fantastic composer, really great innovator, and he just died way too soon. So, again, I'm dragging the tone of the podcast down. But it's very sad.
I think it's important. No, let's take a moment. Let's recognise it.
He did great work, and I would have loved to have had him on the podcast. I really would. But Denis Villeneuve, as the director of a lot of the films that he worked on, for sure. I think Joss Whedon's an interesting one. I'd want to talk to him. Obviously, like Steven Spielberg, you'd never turn down the opportunity to interview Steven Spielberg. I mean, come on.
Yeah, for sure. Wes Anderson, Stephen Fry. I'd love to have a conversation with, because he's been my idol since I was tiny. Jason Isaacs, I reckon, would be awesome
yesterday.
Too. You've lost me.
Never mind. I'll include that one in the edit.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually watched an interview with Jason Isaacs the other day, and I didn't realize just how debonair he was, how suave.
Well, interestingly, I was having a conversation with a colleague at work, and his friend was in a film with Jason Isaacs.
You're kidding? Which film?
Yeah. Oh God, I'm gonna have to try and find it now. It looks really, really cool as a kind of like as a concept.
Harry Potter and the Chamber
when you
of
go on your
Secrets.
next. When you go on your next rant, I'll subtly look it up. I mean when you're talking to our listeners, I'll find it. But yeah, he was talking to him, and apparently they emailed him out of the blue, my colleague at work's friend, saying that, yeah, we'd love you to be a part of it. And obviously the script got to his agent, and the agent was like, oh, are you interested in this? And Jason was like, no, not really. It sounds a bit, oh, hang on, what's it about? And they gave him a brief synopsis, and it's something to do with like their I don't want to even try because I might get it completely wrong. I'll look the film up in a minute. Anyway, they shot this film together, and they shot it over a period of like a couple of weeks, and they all stayed in one house together and basically just got massively pissed the entire time. And they saw each other later at a different I think they'd gone to see a piece of theatre, and they just so happened that they came out into the lobby, and Jason must have seen this guy and stormed right up to him, grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and flung him against the wall, like lifted him almost off his feet and just screamed, when are we going to do another fucking film together? Which is the coolest thing ever.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah. I'm not surprised. Having seen that interview, he had that... I never realised how much he looks like Daniel Craig. Like, he looks like he could play James Bond if he wanted.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Jason Isaacs would be cool. I literally had a name just as you went off on a rant. Alfonso Cuarón. Love to talk to him. How could we forget? Guillermo del Toro. I absolutely
for sure.
want to talk to him. Like, I want to get inside the Pacific Rim part of his brain and just like stay there. And I want to
get inside his rim. Okay.
I want to get inside his rim. Exactly.
Up to you.
Have you noticed that almost all the directors are not? Actually, I was going to say almost all the directors aren't from like Britain or America. I don't know if that's actually true, but certainly that last string, we were all just like, oh God, this is some really interesting Spanish language directors. There are some really interesting people, like, of course, Christopher Nolan, another one. I mean, he is British. Not that that's a bad thing.
Ooh, I found it.
And
okay, so this film, everyone. You've got to go and watch this. I haven't seen it yet, but it genuinely looks really, really good. The film is called Skeletons. It was made in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comedy/drama/fantasy. And the synopsis is this. 2 exorcists literally remove skeletons from the cupboards of people's homes. Some fairly embarrassing secrets are revealed along the way. A case where the skeletons have hidden themselves turns the lives of all those involved. And it genuinely... I've seen the trailer, and it is hilarious.
Oh, so I was just reading the synopsis. Your intonation on that sentence kind of confused me. A case where the skeletons have hidden themselves turns the lives of all involved. That doesn't make any sense, that sentence.
That's why I stumbled.
Yeah. Oh, well, wow, okay. Oh, that is an interesting one.
And he plays like this. So the 2 exorcists are part of this secret organization handled by the government, and Jason Isaacs, from what I can understand, he's like the kind of the big boss, major lieutenant-y, no kind of soldier guy, and it looks really cool. His character is literally called the Colonel.
We have so many films that we've been telling everyone to watch.
It was nominated for a BAFTA.
For what?
I imagine best like
original screenplay. I don't know what the categories are for the BAFTAs, other than best children's presenter, because our friend Maddie Moat got it.
Outstanding debut by a British writer, director, or producer, to Nick Whitfield.
Oh, good on you, Nick. Good idea.
Yeah, well done, Nick. It won Chicago. It was nominated at Chicago, SXSW,
South by Southwest.
Yeah. The British Independent Film Awards. It's done a lot of stuff. Writers Guild of Great Britain nominated it for best screenplay. So the guy, he both directed and wrote it.
That's often the winning combination, though, really, right? Because as a writer, you have the vision of the film in your head, and I can't imagine anything worse than writing something, getting super invested in it, and then you turn it over to somebody else, and they do something completely terrible with it. That's not what you intended.
Yeah,
kind of like the opposite of what they did with 50 Shades of Grey, in that they took absolute shit, and then the first film they tried to do something interesting with it. Oh, the Hat Films have just released their Pancake video. It's Shrove Tuesday, by the way, for those of you who, because we haven't actually said exactly when, but this is the day, certainly in the UK, I imagine this is worldwide as well, isn't it? Where people make pancakes.
Yeah.
Have you had pancakes today?
I haven't had pancakes today.
Oh, you poor thing.
Very sad. Have you had pancakes today?
I had them on Sunday because Mum is out tonight, and Dad cooks them, but we always do it as a family. So she's.
What do you as far as pancake toppings go? Talk me through your logic.
Now, I have to admit, I am in so many ways very vanilla when it comes to life. Like, I, for example, do love vanilla ice cream. I can do other flavors, but I like, I'm happy with the vanilla. I like other pizzas, but I really like margarita. When it comes to pancakes, give me lemon and sugar. I'm a happy.
I'm with you the whole way.
A happy bunny. Blood orange is an acceptable alternative to lemon. Another interesting one that I've had, and it's the only time I've ever enjoyed it, and also I'm probably going to trigger half the fucking world like I normally do these days by saying this, is strawberries and Nutella.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there as well. Nutella in a pancake is awesome. Can you remember?
But we both said Nutella, not Nutella. So presumably half.
I refuse point blank to ever say Nutella.
I know that's technically how it's meant to be made. So how it's meant to be pronounced, but
it's like calling IKEA instead of IKEA.
You mean we've just been conditioned to do it, and by this point it sounds weird in our ears?
Yeah.
I mean, like
would you seriously say IKEA?
No, I'd never say IKEA because no one's ever picked me up on it.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
But Nutella and strawberries in my pancakes.
Oh, I wouldn't say pancakes, mate. That's very dangerous.
It's a very, very flat vagina. That's
whoa. Enjoy your pancakes, everybody.
Yeah, some poor bastard is probably going to be having pancakes, looks down and goes, "Oh, I don't want it anymore." Yeah. This Nutella seeping out of my pancake.
Was it with you that we did? Did we get? It was with you. Yeah, of course it was with you. Can you remember we went to that really, really cool pancake place
in Amsterdam?
Yeah. Which we ended up turning out to be quite a famous pancake shop. And we're like, oh, we managed just to get in, get seated, and then left, and there was a massive queue.
Yeah, there's this queue that it felt like it went right down the street.
Now, Simon, what did you have? Can you remember?
You had salmon, didn't you?
I had smoked salmon, avocado, and
was it ricotta or something like that, or goat's cheese? No, I had goat's cheese.
Basically, it was the most middle class. Yeah, you had goat's cheese and like pine nuts, was it?
I think it was goat's cheese, pine nuts, and like balsamic vinegar or something like that.
Yeah,
balsamic dressing. They were really good, but as you say, very middle class. Like, I don't know how much middle. I mean, the thing is, two white middle class boys going to Amsterdam from the UK. Like, at least we weren't the kind of middle class people that wear like trackies and make out like they're not middle class. I thought you were going
to say trackies and make out, and I'm like, it's not fan fiction time yet, mate.
Yeah, sorry, it's another half hour at least before that.
Also, two middle class white boys going to Amsterdam. Where do you think the first place most people would go? I mean, that's not to say that we didn't go there, but it was very much en route to somewhere else. Can you remember that awkward walk through?
Oh my god,
red light district, which was just I couldn't handle it.
That was when we had a few people with us, and I will name drop her here shamelessly. We had Anais draw curiosity with us, who is in the middle of fighting through her PhD. So if you're listening to this, Anais, best of luck. But she was. We were kind of saying, do we want to go to a sex show? And I was like, I don't think Pixel Girl will be happy if I go to a sex show, and I don't at least run that past her.
Yeah. Also, and Hummingbird Boy heart would have given out there. It would have been just such an awkward moment. I don't think I would have been able to survive.
So like you would have died. I would have felt bad if I hadn't run it through past my girlfriend. And Anais was there like, yep, I want to go, pushing this bike around. And then we had Dave Whiskas from Standard Broadcast and Brian from Real Engineering went into a bar.
We went to that really great bar, that rooftop bar. Remember?
Oh yeah, we did. I mean, there was that really cool Irish guy who spoke like 15 languages. Who just charged all of our phones for us. He was like,
and used his headphones as hearing aids.
Yes,
because there were special headphones that also did noise cancelling. So they'd block out external kind of like just the general like humming and other talking and just focusing on. He was really cool, actually.
He was like an NPC that you meet in a game just before a boss. Like, he charged up all of our phones, he like showed us a new skill, and then we were going to be put out there and we would have to fight John Green. That was the restaurant where I got butt dialed by or possibly I just missed a call from John Green. That was a big deal for me. I was looking at my phone going and then before I had the courage to pick up it, I think it was a butt dial, and maybe he just didn't realise, but I didn't have the courage to call him back.
That whole night was bizarre because we left the Airbnb in search of food,
Oh yeah,
And just for chance, we found that really great burger place.
Oh, and they had like the place that did shawarma. Oh no, the burger place. Yeah, that was so good.
Really good, like really kind of gourmet niche burgers. And then we went and walked down and we found this kind of town square, ate it in the square while laughing at just kind of the multitude of very, very drunk people. And then it ended up meeting up with Brian.
Yeah.
And then met up with others. And then we went to this really swanky hotel.
Yeah.
And had a load of really, like, very delicious but really expensive cocktails.
But then after that, we went with, like, we were looking around to go bars to go into. I remember Dave and Brian went up into this bar. It was up a set of steps, and we kind of waited at the bottom because Anais had to like tie her bike up, like she had to put the lock on it. And before she could, they just wheeled around, like within 5 seconds, came back out down the steps, and were like, nope,
Both
absolutely
like a shade
not.
whiter, being like, oh yeah, we can't go in there.
They didn't even say what they saw. Like it was presumably pretty bad. But that was a fun night. Like it's a shame because they've changed VidCon this year. This for those of you who might not have seen it, we went to VidCon. We did 2 vlogs about it. They're on my channel. I'll include a link in the show notes. Where Dan fangirled over Dodie, and it was frankly amazing. Especially now that there's a comment.
Then we both fangirled over the Rijksmuseum.
Yes, but then it's
had that comically middle class snack midway through. God, that whole trip was just a bit of a piss take, wasn't it? Really,
it kind of was.
We stayed in a really nice Airbnb.
Yeah.
And then we, to break up the journey of like several different floors of the Rijksmuseum, we stopped and got a cheese board and 2 glasses of white wine. Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, I believe.
It was like our version of the Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon. What's it called?
Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny.
So this was for VidCon Europe, and there is a VidCon Europe this year, I should say. I don't think I'm going to go to it because they have changed what it is now. I think the way that they did it before was there was the tier of everyday YouTube users from Europe who want to meet YouTube people and like meet
so like community.
The community tier. And then there was a creator tier for people who maybe had a few thousand subscribers and like were kind of getting started out. It was a place to meet other creators and to network, and most importantly, as far as I could tell, you could go to different workshops on like how to edit, how to shoot better, how to collaborate, how to build your business. And I went to several of those, and they were very, very good. And then there was there was actually the ultimate tier, which is for people who worked in the industry, like people who worked for big companies who wanted to break into online video. And then sandwiched between those two, there was the tier of people who were invited to VidCon. And this is where you're talking about the big YouTube celebrities like John and Hank Green. I mean, they run it, obviously. But people like the Fine Brothers. You've got like Swoozie.
Dodie Clark, I think, was there.
Dodie
I can't
Clark.
quite remember. It was all a bit of a blur.
She commented on the video. That's one of my favorite things about that, is her commenting, but like, "Oh my god, Dan, let's be friends." And I showed you that at a party, and you just freaked out.
I did genuinely have to go into a dark room and lie down for a moment because I felt dizzy. It was
hilarious.
Funny.
Genuinely, hilarious.
We were at a house party. Remember?
Yeah, that was when Jessie broke that glass.
Yeah, she just put her hand straight through this like mason jar.
Her first name isn't Messy for a reason.
No, very true.
So you know, you got these big kind of famous people, and for me, if I'm being honest, going to VidCon was. I mean, I'd be interested to hear your perspective on this, actually, Dan. Going for me as a YouTuber was probably about 50% the creator track workshops and the networking with other meeting other creators and also, you know, meeting fans. Like, we did meet probably about half a dozen people who recognized us, including whilst we were filming, which was quite funny. You know, and that was like probably about half the draw. The other half was, frankly, being able to meet the really big famous YouTubers. And I knew that I had a friend who was our second favorite biologist, Sally LePage, of the one biologist we know, who was on a panel, and so I knew that there was a chance that we were going to get kind of to meet these people, and we did. We got to meet basically everybody we could have hoped to have met. It was very, very cool. But now that they've changed it for next year, such that there is the creator track and there's the industry track, but there isn't that tier for people who just watch YouTube. Now it's a conference for people who just want to make YouTube videos. And
now it's more of a conference than it is like a con,
like a convention. Yeah. I mean, and for me, like, I'm at a point now in my YouTube career where I actually I network with the people who I want to work with online. Like, physically meeting with people who are of a comparable size isn't all of that useful to me anymore. Like in terms of growing my channel, it can be interesting and it can be great to meet people and very, very, so some of the YouTubers I met at VidCon are amazing people. I'm glad I've kept in touch with, but like it doesn't quite have the same draw to me now that we don't have that top tier. It's not that I wanted to get in their pocket and like collab with them. It was just a question. I want to meet you and like hang out with you. I don't know. It's lost that appeal to me, and I hope that it works. I know that it lost a lot of money last year, but like I hope that it does actually succeed now in being a more targeted conference for if you want to make YouTube videos. This is where you come and you do the workshops. Yeah. I mean, what was your reasoning for going to VidCon?
I think I wanted to. There were creators that were going that I wanted to meet. It would be kind of like a fun weekend away. I'd also just been there because singers had toured to Amsterdam and Den Haag, like literally the week before. So I had that comical moment of I flew out of Schiphol on a different flight into Gatwick, then got a train from Gatwick to Exeter to be ready to get on another flight out of Exeter back to Amsterdam.
It was so middle class.
It was ridiculous. I think it was a mixture of wanting to meet creators, wanting to kind of immerse myself in the kind of the YouTube community kind of vibe and see what it was all about, because it's the first time that I've not only ever been to kind of like a YouTube thing, but also just a convention. Like I haven't been to a con before. And just kind of see what it was like. Obviously, it was going to be fun going with you anyway, because we usually we can have a laugh in our front room. So put us in a foreign city and we'll be able to do something pretty interesting. Obviously I didn't do the creator track stuff because I'm not a creator, so I probably wouldn't have gotten much out of it. But I think I certainly had a good time, and the going to hear different people talk and meeting different people, and also just talking to people within talks, like chatting to people in a line for something, or sitting next to them while Rhett and Link are kind of gabbling on about random stuff. That was really nice. Meeting people that I'd spoken to or I was kind of like aware of online, and kind of spending more time with them was lovely. And the nights out and being able to offer John and Hank Green drinks tokens for beer was probably the coolest thing ever.
Yep.
Being like, I've got a drinks token, and Hank was, I can remember so specifically, because he was like, Hank kind of turned around and went, John, he's got tokens. And I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, oh man, I've made it. That's it.
Life doesn't get any better from here.
Yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, as I say, I think that I'm not sure whether it's going to be a totally different vibe now that community aspect's gone, because it's going to just be infinitely more formal, I think. Because you don't have that just viewership there. You don't have that presence.
Yeah, I think it's going to be much more like an academic conference, actually. I mean, like, I've... The only thing I could compare it to is... Well, yeah, I can compare it to academic conferences, and there was an element of that in that there were sessions, and you'd like book out your timetable, and you'd be like, right, I want to go to these things, I need to be in these places at this time, and I'm going to sit in the audience and make notes, and then I maybe network a bit, and then I'm going to go. And then the other thing is going to Games Workshop conventions, which I went to 3, I think, in the mid-2000s, which were really, really fun. And the fun aspect of it was being surrounded by the culture. Like, you're surrounded by people that are all passionate about the same thing. And I think I'd be very interested to hear from people that go to VidCon this year, how they find it, what the atmosphere is like. I mean, obviously, like, the VidCon in America... Although the other thing to say is VidCon was just bought by Viacom. Like, it was a big takeover. Yeah, like, Hank Green is still on the panel and, like, kind of directing the overall direction of it. But, yeah, they were just bought. Yeah. But VidCon US, I think, is going to be exactly the same. And in a way, I would be surprised if VidCon US splits into 2. I mean, like, 30,000 people at an event is pretty crazy. Like, I thought that the AGU, which was the big conference in America, was big, and that's like 15,000 people. The idea of twice as many people, and most of them are screaming teenagers, is terrifying. I feel like you want to split out those events. But I mean, I know plenty of people that are going to that. Maybe next year I'll be big enough to be invited to go to VidCon US. That'd be pretty cool. Like, I have a chat I'm in with a few other YouTubers, and like they're all planning on going to VidCon, and like, we could rent Ferraris for the day and do a video about that. And there's just me sat in the corner with like, okay guys, I'll just get by on my Patreon earnings for the month again.
Yeah.
Tiny world's smallest violin for me. But yeah, I can't remember what the whole point of this was, but we were talking about being in Amsterdam and that trip being really fun.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, we've rambled a lot. If you listen to this podcast for the rambles, guys, this has been a A+.
Yeah, we've gone above and beyond expectation.
Do you want to take a trip into Critics Corner?
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Yeah.
So what have you been watching, Dan? I just talked for ages. What have you watched?
This is the thing. I'm going to level with you here. I haven't really watched anything. I've been prepping for
you come in here
secret thing today.
On the day my daughter is to be married. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
He's gone. That's it. That's the end, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us. I suppose at this point we need to formally announce the ending of the Wikicast. It's been a really fun journey, but it's just not going to work because Dan doesn't watch enough. There he is. He's really good with dealing anger management. He's fantastic. I mean, you've got to give him credit. I do annoy him, but he's just so good at internalizing that pain and really kind of, keeping it under wraps.
Okay, right.
Simon, so what have you watched this week?
Nothing really.
Okay, all right. Well, it was nice stopping off in Critics Corner. That was fun.
Since we last recorded, what have I watched? I have actually watched a lot of stuff on YouTube to do with Sea of Thieves. I don't know if you've seen any of this.
Oh yeah, that looks really good. I'd like to play that a lot.
I mean, depending on the system requirements, I may have to get that. I mean, to be honest, the thing I've been doing in the evenings recently is I've been trying to get better at my work-life balance, and I've just started scheduling time to have fun. And so I've been playing
because, as we know, girls just want to have fun. So.
Yes, we do. We all do. Hang on, wait a minute. And so I've been playing a lot of Civ 6, which is very enjoyable. I've got to say, it's very different from Civ 5. Like I played my first full game, which took literally like 12 hours. That's how long it takes in the new version. Like I played the first game, and it's like I just had to forget everything I'd ever learned about Civ and just kind of start from fresh. Like it's way more tactical than it was before. I really like this version. Now I know the rules and everything. I like it. So I've actually been doing a lot of that. I don't think I've watched any films since we last.
No, I certainly haven't. I also haven't really watched much TV either. I think I watched an episode of Mad Men the other day. That was equally good. I'm on season 4 now.
Bloody hell, ripping through it.
Yeah, it's quite good. I also watched the announcement video and stuff for Apple's HomePod that launched on, I believe, Friday or possibly the weekend. So that's in the store now, which has actually been really fun because we work up the way that the Princess A store works in Exeter. Is that it's one of the oldest stores in the country. Fun fact: it's 10 years. We celebrated our 10-year anniversary and a birthday. On I think it was in November. But yeah, that's now downstairs, the HomePod, or they had one on the launch day downstairs. So working up on the Genius Bar, which is on the top floor, we'd be shouting down from the balcony and be like, "Hey Siri, play Cha Cha Slide," and get all the other employees working downstairs to like start dancing around with customers.
I was waiting for it. Waiting for it.
Now playing Cha Cha Slide for dinner next DJ Casper.
And we're gonna let it play for 6. There we go. Okay, that's quite enough.
Oh, amazing. That's phenomenal. Presumably I'm not on speaker, right?
No, sadly not.
Oh, damn it.
Because I know what you used to do.
Yes, I used to tell Siri to search for child porn so it would appear on your Google history.
Yeah, you are a sick and twisted man.
I'm a good friend.
It's quite funny though, because I must have had some drinks a while ago. Shock horror. I unwittingly set my nickname to My Prince. So I asked it a question the other day when I was demonstrating what the Siri function does on the Genius Bar in an appointment. I said, yeah, like, look, you can tell it to set a timer. And interestingly, if that timer's like for 3 minutes in the morning or like before 10 o'clock, Siri will assume that you're cooking an egg because that's the most common thing. And it was around that time. And I was like, so, and I'm not going to say the bit because my phone will go off. But I said, set a timer for 3 minutes. And Siri replied with, okay, my prince, enjoy your eggs. And I'm like, oh, that's really embarrassing.
We definitely set it to worse than that before.
We've set it to category C swear words. Yeah.
Yeah, I think specifically we were like, okay, call me destroyer. I was waiting for that to go off in public, and it never did.
Yeah. Oh God.
So what is the Apple like? What is the benefit of having an Apple Home? Would you get one?
An Apple Home?
Yeah,
the HomePod.
The HomePod. Sorry, I'm thinking of Google Home.
It's like it's basically Apple's answer to Alexa, but it's got a better speaker system in it. It's got 7 tweeters.
What are their accounts?
Which are the very good. Oh, he's clever. Oh, it's very highbrow today. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, to be fair, because we've got 2 Beats pills in the house, courtesy of Ed, and they're amazing. They create an incredible sound. I'm yet to have a proper kind of sit down and go through the motions with the HomePod, but it is pretty cool. Like the sound quality is amazing. The kind of treble to bass range I've been really impressed with. It also kind of like it's just a clever. It's a smart speaker. It really cool, like excels when you tie it into Apple's kind of HomeKit section, and that kind of just being able to basically, like, if you've already got a smart house, it will just be able to do everything. It's a clever thing.
Looking through it, it says about £400
It's retails for $349.
Okay, so that kind of range. So it is really quite expensive then.
Yeah. Well, it's Apple, mate.
It is. That is true.
It's very clever. I mean, I think I'm going to have to get one purely because there's a discount, obviously, for employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually quite substantial. So I may have to get it at some point purely because it's never going to be that cheap again.
But I mean, comparing it to like the Google Home, for example, which is the one that I've been looking at I've actually been looking at the Google Home Mini, which is like the little pill type shape things, which are like they're 50 quid, or the Google Home is 130, 150 kind of range. Yeah. Like, is it really worth that much extra money, do you think?
From a like audio quality and music quality perspective, totally, because that's basically what you're paying for. The Siri function within HomePod is basically exactly the same as that you'll get through a laptop or phone. It's just the speaker has the functionality to access different things and control different things. Otherwise, what you're really paying for is the quality of the speaker, which I can attest to as being amazing. Both when you turn it right. Also, you can say cool things like play Bach B minor mass at 38% volume, and it'll do it, and then you'll say, turn it up to 75, and it'll turn it up, and then like it's a cool groovy thing.
Have you seen the it's an advert that's being memed a lot at the moment for Alexa that's done that? Have you seen this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, it's Alexa, so I'm contractually not allowed to watch it.
Oh yeah, cool. If you actually do, it's like the what are they called, the Fruit Loops guy from Rick and Morty, where if you eat
I was thinking Vegan Police.
Now, you know what's the guy in Rick and Morty where like if you eat his cereal,
my Schmeckles, my thingy Schmeckles, wasn't it?
Hang on, I'm going to Google that.
Oh no, fruit eye holes.
Yeah, eye holes, isn't it? And yeah, like if he finds out that you've got his eye holes, he'll literally come and murder you. That's what it's like with you in Amazon products. Like if someone, a little light will go off in Apple HQ, and they'll be like, Daniel Moore is looking at an Amazon advert. Deploy. People will repel through the windows. It's this advert where basically people are editing out Alexa's responses to certain things and then putting in clips from elsewhere. So, for example, there's one that's like the Soviet Alexa, and they're putting in like, Alexa, tell me a joke, and it's like in Russian but translated at the bottom. It's like capitalism is best form of government.
Yeah,
and then they kind of like laugh. And there's a great one for Lewis Brindley from the Yogscast, which is fantastic. There's some great Yogscast post. If someone would like to, if my beard would take it upon themselves to do an Alexa advert for the Wikicast, that would be amazing.
Or if my forehead would like to do a HomePod Siri advert.
We can duel them. We can play our fans off each other.
A friendly competition. Yeah, I have faith in you, forehead. You're amazing.
Okay, so basically what we've established is we've been watching adverts. That's how capitalist our society is we've been watching adverts and discussing them.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, I am.
I've been looking over. I suppose in terms of kind of, I've been spending more time looking over music, obviously because it's Ash Wednesday tomorrow.
Oh, of course, yeah. So you're
So
doing the
we've got
Allegri.
all those banging tunes. Beg your pardon?
You're doing the Allegri, are you?
Yes, featuring Joe Reed on alto.
What?
Yeah, he's a very good countertenor.
That's unfair. That's unfair. He's a lovely boy. He's a fantastic bass.
Oh, get this. So it's the semi-chorus quartet is Becky, Joe, Jacob, and Sarah.
Okay, so do you have another second bass? You must do, because it's.
Oh wait, hang on. That's a lie. I think.
This is riveting content for
Someone
those
else
of
is
you
doing it. Either way, it's a really cool.
For those of our readers who haven't memorized the roster of the chapel choir for this year, because the Allegri at one point has 9 parts to it. There's a it's a quartet, and then there's a 5-part underneath at the very end. So my concern was, if you only have 2 second basses at the moment, if you were to take both of them out, then who's going to sing that bottom part? But very excited. Of course, I will include a link to the Allegri Miserere in the show notes if you don't know what it is already, because you really should know it. It's very, very overplayed, but it is an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah.
What else are you doing music wise?
I was just trying to think. I know we're doing Gibbons' second service next week.
Nice.
And that did you sing that "Were You There" piece?
Is this by the local composer?
Not Graham Keach.
The other one, yeah.
I don't think he's local. I think he used to have some connection with Durham Cathedral.
Okay. I don't think I was there for that one, though.
I can't remember. Anyway, I'm not a huge fan. Either way, but I'm also a bit sad because we're it's Evensong is on my birthday, and we're doing arguably the most kind of tame music.
Oh, right.
We're doing Leighton Second the week after that, for instance, and that's going to be like a banging tune. Also, I have to learn Leighton Second because it's quite difficult. Surprise, surprise. Stephen Leighton.
King Leighton. I don't know what I mean. Okay, I kind of get it, but like
Kenneth Leighton.
Sorry, give him his first proper. Yeah. Oh yeah, not Stephen Leighton.
Yeah. Leighton Hewitt.
Leighton Hewitt. Yeah. Oh, Danny Baker. I missed that boy. Wow, that's a reference that no one will get. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry. So we were meant to be talking about films.
Yeah, but we haven't watched anything.
We haven't watched anything, and I think I genuinely might get a Google Home Mini just for the office. Because you can I might get one for my room and one for the office, because they are cheap enough that I could just get 2. Because I do often, I do quite often actually will open up my phone to use the voice control for Google.
Yeah, so that's why that's why I'm not too fussed about getting this HomePod, other than kind of like the discount. Also, I do use Siri often.
Yeah, I think I'd be very interested to see if I feel like I've got money's worth out of this, because it's one of those things that I've in my head termed as like a luxury. I don't need it, but I think I would use it if I had it, and I think if I had it, I would use Google's voice recognition more.
This exactly sums up the relationship between with my first paycheck from Apple, I treated myself to a set of EarPods, and I listen to music a lot anyway, and I just thought, well, if we're going on like cost per use, I'm going to make my money back. But equally, the ease of them, and I genuinely cannot. Hugo got some for his birthday, and he is also a convert. Having wireless speakers, wireless headphones that are that small that you almost forget that they're in. They fit really snugly. They don't fall out. They charge in the thing. It just means I'm listening to music all the time now. No, it's just awesome.
Bear in mind, we're meant to be talking about adverts we've watched, not actually be an advert for Apple. You don't get commission from this podcast.
Well, I mean, I don't get commission anyway.
You poor lamb. Again, the world's smallest violin.
Yeah, but they're fucking awesome.
Please buy Apple products, please.
Please. And it's that time where we have to head on over to update you all on the Patreon situation, namely the contest between Team Dog and Team Cat.
Is it a contest though? I mean, is it at this point?
I mean, we're sneaking up. Team Dog we're getting closer and closer to Team Cat each week. So statistically, give it a couple of weeks and we should be okay. Team Dog, we're sitting on 19 patrons. I'm terribly proud. Team Cat, however, is in the lead with 23.
The superior household pet.
absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. But yeah, we're getting close. Much like the dog chasing the cat, we're getting ever closer week by week. I mean, I'm constantly on the edge of my seat whenever I check this, but we'll get there. Team Dog, I believe in you.
That's because
even if it means that I have to make several accounts. And
that's purely because you're like Tiny Tim and you're always sat on the edge of your seat. Your legs dangling off the side.
It's just such highbrow comedy.
Highbrow. In the logo, my brows are literally higher than yours.
Yeah, well, very true. It's because I don't have eyebrows.
Yes, you're a bit like Lord Voldemort wearing glasses.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, or Bram Stoker's Dracula with that hair, maybe.
Oh, I mean, you don't have to be that complimentary.
Honestly, I genuinely don't know why you make this podcast with me sometimes. But as well as the people who have pledged to the bannermen of Team Cat, the house cat and house dog, quite literally, actually, we have to thank some very special people. There are 20 Knights of the Realm, lads of the realm, who support the Wikicast more than everyone else, basically. They donate more money to the Patreon. We have a tier for our top lads. Now, we have maxed out this tier. If you do have any suggestions, if you perhaps would like to be of exalted top lad status, but, it's full at the moment, if you have any suggestions about how we can accommodate you into our mighty kingdom, then by all means get in touch with us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. But for the time being, it is time to say thanks, to give thanks to our top lad patrons.
We begin. Lachlan Woods.
I'm going to make your forehead and my beard's life easy now, and well, you'll see what I mean. So, what was that name again?
Lachlan Woods.
Lad.
John Mannion.
Lad.
Nicholas.
Lad.
Or make it a -7. Luke Thatcher.
Lad.
Yeah, there we go. Nice. Simon Torseth.
Lad.
Alex Greer.
Do I go up or do I go down?
Oh, don't risk it, mate.
Lad.
Okay, here we go. Geordie Eschendahl.
Lad.
Jono.
Lad.
Miles Cornfeld.
Lad.
Matt Maguire.
Lad.
Emma Kavanagh.
Lad. That's it.
Jay Wright.
No, I'm not even going to try. Lad. No, hang on.
Angela.
That's what I started on. Let me do that again. Lad.
Angela.
Lad.
Kieran Kelly. You're a bass. Show off your bottom.
I beg your pardon.
Not your actual ass.
Okay, what was that? Kieran Kelly?
Yes.
Lad.
Wonderful Stephen.
What was that?
That lost me. I don't know whether that was just a note or a grunt. Lad.
Lad.
Oh, there you go. Oh, it's our favourite. Tapio Kirkinen.
Very tentative. Whenever you say his name, you can't help be tentative. Oh, God, what do I even do, Nad? Nad? What do I even do, Nad?
Don't know. Do Nad. Go Nad.
Lad.
Ooh, nice. Davi Schramm Vontobel.
Very nice. What kind of music does that remind you of?
What, his name?
Yeah, that name. What does that elicit?
I don't know. Bark-esque? If you go, woof, then that'll be quite funny.
Oh, I can't now. You've just taken that from me. I mean,
sorry.
Bach should be something like just some obscene run, which just run out of breath. And we don't have enough
but you've
time
got to
in the
distinguish
podcast.
it from Handel, mate.
Ah, God, yes, that's true. What's specific about Bach?
Give it to sing lad to lad.
Well, that's Beethoven, so that won't work.
Oh shit! Yeah, it is. What about? What was I?
Lad.
Yeah, nice.
There you go.
Simon Vase.
Again, I'm drawing a blank when it comes to the music associated with that name.
Wow. Sorry, everyone. And
I was surprised by that.
My other favourite name. Oh my God, Dan starts sweating already. As Hagu Nagapan Nagasaravananan.
Lad.
And Dan Hanvey.
Lad.
Lad.
Actually, how did we not talk about that? Oh, well, that I had to wait for the video. Dan and I met up in real life and we went to a Robot Wars tournament.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot you did that.
Yeah. Oh,
I was
filmed
working,
it.
sadly. I couldn't come. I'm sorry, Dan. I did want to go, but...
there will be a vlog
phones.
and we may now be building a robot. Just saying.
Oh, awesome.
Doesn't change the fact that he's a lad.
And we find ourselves in Agony Corner. We've got okay. You all right?
I'm in agony.
Yeah, don't sit on that massive spike, man. That's why it's called Agony Corner.
Oh, it's all right. It's flanged.
Oh. We've got an interesting email here from, I think it's pronounced Anonymous. This person says, I have a chronic illness. It's okay, please don't feel bad for me, but I'm wondering, from a guy's perspective, how/when would you bring this up with someone that you're dating? I don't want to leave it too late, but I also don't want to bring it up too early and scare them. Thanks for the excellent non-content, Anonymous. Well, I used to live with someone who had chronic fatigue.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is, not something to be taken lightly. It's a really, really kind of tough thing to live with. I think let it kind of come to light in its own time. I don't think there's necessary need to draw attention to it. Equally, I think, just don't kind of, you're not defined by a chronic illness, in which case it shouldn't be one of the first things that I feel like you should tell a person. Obviously, if you want to kind of wear it loud and proud and do tell them, then that's fine too. But these things would generally, I think, it's like with, I don't know, like phobias or kind of likes and dislikes, and they gradually, people get to, that's part of getting to know a person, right? What do you think, Simon?
It's one of those things where I think the overarching advice is the people that mind about it don't matter, and the people that matter don't mind. I feel like in a way it's like a shibboleth for whether a relationship is going to work with someone. If a girl was to come to me early in the relationship and just come out and say it, I think I would prefer that personally. I don't think it would scare me off. Like it's a big part of your life, and I feel like if you act like you're hiding a big part of who you are, then that comes across in other ways, I think. And it's the classic thing, like when you watch a romantic comedy or you read a Jane Austen novel and you're just shouting, like, just talk about your feelings. Like, I feel like this is one of those situations where it's like, I would much rather know than not know, because you could be put in awkward situations when you're having to make up lies about perhaps if you are chronically fatigued or something, why you're constantly being late, or you might miss stuff and you have to make up excuses, and like, as a guy, your bullshit detector is probably going to be going off. And also, just the I think dating somebody, it's very attractive to date somebody who is confident in their own skin, and that doesn't necessarily just mean physically, like they embrace what they look like that is definitely very attractive, but also just being aware of who they are as a person. In terms of, like, if you're worrying about a guy specifically being scared off, I definitely
or indeed prefer, if you're worrying about guys who scare off, whichever pronunciation you prefer,
the correct one, or Dan's,
I cheeky little
he carries talking straight away. I would, I wouldn't hold it back. I think from the guy's perspective, I'd want to know about it. What would you agree with that?
I definitely, I'm not saying that I don't want to know about it, but equally, if I am in a relationship with a person, I'm not in a relationship. I'm in a relationship with that person because I like that person, and having a chronic illness is maybe part of that, but it's not all about that. So I'm not saying don't not tell the person, but equally just let it. It's just another one of your characteristics. I don't think it necessarily needs to. Obviously, it will vary depending on the kind of the degree of the chronic illness that you have. So
I think if you are in a wheelchair and you try and pretend that you're not in a wheelchair for the first couple
you might
of days,
struggle. That might be a bit difficult.
You might struggle to stand on your own 2 feet.
If you don't have a right arm, and when someone says, "Are you right-handed?" you say yes.
Again, that's the classic. Like,
might
you
get
panic.
suspicious.
Yes. Or you could be like that.
It's just another aspect of who you are. I don't think it necessarily needs. You don't need to feel like. As far as leaving it too late but bringing it up too early, it should, the moment should just feel right when you talk about it. It's not. It doesn't unless you want it to. It doesn't have to define you, and therefore it doesn't have to take import over other aspects of your character.
I feel like this question kind of ties into this perception, possibly, that guys are very fickle when it comes to dating. Like, as in, it's, you know, that meme of like guys only want one thing and it's f***ing disgusting. I feel like that is a generally held belief. But you know, certainly we have two guys in this podcast, two soy boys, if you will.
We should probably say that that's the stereotype.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. We have two boys in this podcast who are absolutely not like that.
Yes.
I mean, obviously you'd be lying if physical attractiveness and conforming to sort of societal and gender norms for most people is very attractive, you know.
Sure.
Like women with long hair, for example, because that's what most women have. Yes,
Although,
there are plenty
spoilers,
of guys.
I have a massive thing for pixie cuts. Don't know why, but that is just a thing.
I have a massive thing for pixel girls, so it's kind of works out actually.
Nice, clever.
Boyfriend points. I do also have a thing for short hair. Like I do. I mean, but that's sort of poor example possibly. But like yes, like the societal norms and certain things, it does apply to guys. But like it's the stuff, the intangible stuff on top of it that separates out whether you want to date somebody or not. Like somebody just because someone's attractive doesn't make me want to date them. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it just so happens that I am dating somebody very attractive, but like the reason that it's stuck as a relationship and not just like a one-off thing is, you know, their brain, it's their intelligence, it's them being comfortable in their own skin. I don't think there's anything sexier than confidence, and that.
No, I'd agree.
You know, like that is confidence in yourself, in your body. You know.
Do you like how we both agree? You're like, nothing. There's nothing sexier than confidence, and I immediately chime in with, you know, I agree. At being very confident.
Also, I happen to be available. Yeah, just trying a wee bit too hard there, mate. But yeah, you know, so, but that of course shouldn't intimidate you if you are not confident in yourself.
There is a big difference between confidence and arrogance.
Very, very big.
And you've got to tread that line really carefully. Because I think just a confident person is as I say, I think is someone who is comfortable in themselves and being around others. It's not necessarily like you could meet an introverted person who you could describe as confident. It's, as I say, confidence and arrogance are two very, very different things, and both have very, very different effects.
There's a line from the Bible, like a verse, and I can't remember. I think it might be from one of St. Paul's letters or something, where it's basically like the point of faith is that someone is a good Christian if they defend their faith whenever they're asked about it. They're not a good Christian if they constantly proclaim their faith. And I feel like that's the difference between confidence and arrogance. Like someone is arrogant if they're constantly going on about how great they are. I think someone is confident if somebody knocks them and tries to say they're not any good, and then you actually say, wait a minute, love, I'm actually the best. Like here's a PowerPoint reasons for why my arse is a fantastic arse. Like, you know, arrogance is very not sexy, I think. And, you know, there is that fine line. But just to go back a little bit, you shouldn't worry, I think, if you are not a confident person, because as Dan says, like, you know, for one thing, there is the difference between confidence and extroversion. But also, like, I don't know, personally, I also find one of the best things you can get out of a relationship is watching another human being develop and improve themselves and become confident in who they are. Like, I think it's a magic thing that you can do in a relationship where you can bring somebody not necessarily out of their shell, but you can make someone feel more comfortable in who they are as a person. And that's when a relationship really works, I think, when you both make the other person better. Yeah. And, you know, so I think maybe that's not true of all guys, but certainly for me, if you're a person who doesn't find it too easy to be confident in themselves, that is something that I think some guys will see, and, you know, see for who you are and want to help. You know, like there's an unhealthy side to that. There's definitely the kind of people who came in as like saviors, and it's like, I will help this girl. And then there are unhealthy relationships where you get into it and you realize that you're in way over your head and this person needs professional help, which definitely happened to me before. But effectively, wherever you are on the confidence spectrum, I think there's, there is a positive to be taken from it. I just think people need to be aware of that.
Yeah.
We've got to end this segment, we keep giving people actually good advice.
Yeah, it's crazy. What's going on?
Like people in this email, Anony Mouse has said, thanks for the excellent non-content. Like, we've been over delivering.
Crazy.
Well, thank you very much, Anonymous, for
thank
your
you,
message.
Anonymous. Good question. I hope that's given you some help.
And if you
maybe, hopefully,
that's the best we can hope for. And if you, dear reader, have a problem that you'd like to submit to Agony Corner, then you can email us. You can use a throwaway if you like, but we will be anonymizing every email that we get. So to Crisis Agony Corner, you can put Agony or Corner or Crisis Corner, whatever it is, in the subject line, and that helps us pick you out. But we look forward to discussing and hopefully helping some of you in the future.
Do you want to do a transition into correspondence?
Well, I think we can put a hard jingle in there, honestly.
Yeah, let's just put a hard jingle in, mate.
Let's
just do a hard jingle. Dan's new favourite phrase of the day is now hard jingle.
That sounds like a band.
Yeah. Hello, we're Hard Jingle, and this is Envy.
I don't know why, to me that sounds like they should do Christmas music.
Hi, you're listening to Hard Jingle Radio on Fox. Coming up next, Envy, the new Christmas sing. Anyway, look, we're in Correspondence Corner now. This is the thing.
Oh my God.
I'm going to read you an email now, and it's quite shocking, Simon, so prepare yourself. It comes with pictures, so check them out, because it is a bit scary.
Wow, okay.
James Mumford writes in, Dear Messrs Clark and Moore, thought I'd drop you an email just to let you know that I am indeed the chosen one. Last night...
He was supposed to bring balance to the Force!
Last night I was hit by a car while on my bike. The car was travelling at least 30 miles an hour, hit me side on, and I crashed into the windshield before flying over the roof. My bike's completely f***ed, but I, miraculously, am not.
Oh my goodness.
The witness who called the ambulance gave a statement to the police claiming that I got up before my bike had hit the ground, and that she was shocked that I even got up at all. I sustained only one minor injury, partial ligament damage to my shoulder. I've attached pictures of both the car I decimated with my arse and me having been immobilised in the ambulance. The immobilisation was just precautionary, by the way. They pretty much knew I hadn't sustained any spinal damage, and we just took a picture of it to scare my mother. So yeah, last night I could have seen the first recorded death of a reader, but alas, it transpires that I am the only one who must bring balance to the Force. I will treat my newfound immortality with respect and acknowledge my responsibility to the people of this world. AOTL. James Mumford. Well, James, I hope you're all right. It looks very scary.
Considering that we
can
were
see
both...
these photos.
I mean, so yeah, I'm looking at the photo. You have a wide arse, my friend. That's a big old bum.
Don't kick a guy when he's down. He's just been hit by a car.
He wasn't...
He's been hit by a car, and your first response is, "Yeah, I got a cracking big arse though."
But look at the size of the damage on the windscreen. Like that, if he's gone arse first into the windscreen, and
he's literally gone arse over tit.
He's a thick boy. That's what I would do to that car. If my Sims version of me is thick enough that's the damage I would do to a car.
Meanwhile, if I was hit, I would pass through the car without sustaining any damage, nor would the car notice I'd even gone through it.
I mean, yeah.
No, to be fair, if I'd been hit by a car, I'd disappear through the grills.
This, it sucked straight into the engine. This car windscreen, for those of you listening to this at home, imagine a pool that someone has just done a bomb into, and there's a huge ripple and bubbles through the bluey kind of greeny water. It's one of the pools from Rio, and there's like white waves all over the half of the surface of the pool. It hasn't propagated to the other half of the pool. That's what the windscreen looks like.
You can see that it's clearly... There's been a massive impact. Also, there is then a photo of James on a stretcher with a neck brace, all tight. It does look like they're about to tell you that you can't walk ever again. I hope, and this applies to all listeners, if you're on a bike and you listen to this podcast,
don't.
Please, just think that might not be a good idea. I'm not saying that James was listening while he was riding, because he's
imagine if we were responsible.
A clever guy.
God.
But just, it's like when you're crossing a road, take your headphones out.
Yeah.
Just,
be sensible, guys. We were nearly hit by a car. Do you remember?
Keep it secret. Keep it safe. Oh, I do remember that. My God, yeah, we literally both had to physically jump out of the way of a car that nearly came and hit us after Compline, which is an evening prayer.
I mean, obviously, you've James has sort of gone over the car. We would have just gone straight into the ground. Like we would have.
This guy didn't. I mean, God knows what he was on or had been smoking or drinking or anything. It was two of them in there, but they just careered off onto this kind of patch of grass, and then was slipping and sliding all over the road, just clearly like pedal to the floor, flying and coming up. The visibility on this particular hill is awful. As in, he was on the other side of the road going uphill, quite a steep incline that was bending off to the left, which means that anything coming over that kind of hump, if you will, he would have had no idea and would have ploughed straight into him.
But bear in mind,
we called the police after that, and then on the news, a woman had been hit by a car and was quite hospitalised with kind of severe damage.
I didn't know that.
Anything. Yeah, I would put anything on it. Was that dickhead?
Jeez. I mean, what we've done here is we've taken one of our readers has nearly died and we've made it about us. Yeah. So let's just put the focus back on James. James, I'm incredibly glad that you are okay.
Yeah,
well, I mean, as okay as you look in that picture.
Thank goodness.
Wow. I think
we're sending you a speedy recovery. I'm glad that it says it's only one minor injury, but take it easy. And obviously, normally listening to this podcast, you'd be kind of rolling around laughing, but just try and like control yourself this time.
Yeah, well, I apologise for any damage or any pain that's been caused by you've got damaged ribs or something. It'll be making you laugh. No one laughs listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
This is it's not funny.
If it's violent sobbing, that also might cause a bit of pain. So sorry about that as well.
He's sat in bed with his AirPods in, just sobbing to himself. It's like. Oh my goodness! Well, James, I'm very everyone, all the readers listening to this. Can we just say together at this moment in time, Godspeed, James. Thank you. That was good. Good work, everyone. Next up, an email from Kieran Kelly. Dear Messrs. Moore and Clark. Oh, well, that was a great start. Long-time reader and Patreon donator, but first-time writer. I felt the need to write to you to know your opinions on musicals. I recently went to see The Greatest Showman, and wow, it's been 4 days, and he still has the soundtrack on loop. Personally, I don't see it. I didn't enjoy it, as we talked about. I think this might have been sent just before the last episode came out. And if there, because you say, if you remember, I have tickets to Hamilton. I do. Well, I did. I went. Anyway, they've gone on basically to say about their favourite musicals, and their favourite musicals are Miss Saigon, Jersey Boys, The Lion King, La La Land, and now The Greatest Showman. So, what are your favourite musicals?
Also, don't breeze over his sign off.
Oh, Team Dog Forever. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, good man.
Although he has also signed off correctly with Kieran Kelly, age 17 and 31/48, which is
nice.
Perfect. Yes. What are your favourite musicals, Dan?
Ooh, I mean, I quite like Les Mis. I quite like a Harry Potter musical on YouTube. I know that's like the back of my hand. I desperately want to see The Book of Mormon.
Same, yes.
I've got a weird obsession with Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat because it's just hilarious. The score is properly hilarious. I've heard a lot of stuff about Dear Evan Hansen. That's meant to be really good.
Yes, Waving Through a Window. I've listened to. I don't know the context of it in the show or anything, but I've listened to it a lot. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. I don't know. What about you?
I mean, I don't know very many stage musicals. It's something that I have been getting into through Pixel Girl because she's certainly more into. I don't think she'd ever say she was obsessed. She certainly was very into musical theatre when she was younger, and she knows a lot more shows than I do. So I'm catching up. I do know that I want to see The Book of Mormon because I've heard that one song from it, and Imogen, our good friend Imogen, really likes it. So I want to go and see that, but I don't know anything really about it.
Yeah, I did a lot of musicals at school. I did Barnum, as we touched on last week.
Yes.
The Wizard of Oz, Sweet Charity, which is where the song Hey Big Spender comes from. Yeah, so I used to do quite a bit. I preferred doing plays rather than musical theatre. But, all of Sondheim's stuff, actually. Into the Woods, Sunday in the Park with George, Sweeney Todd. Yeah, that's all good. I like musicals. I just don't really watch them that often, to be honest. I imagine it's because there's not if I'm going to the theatre, I usually see a play.
I mean, do you think that because they've mentioned The Greatest Showman, for example, a film as a musical? Do you think you can count Disney films as musicals?
I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? It's almost like can you count a film version of a musical as a musical? To me, it's a different category. To me, like going to see Into the Woods on stage and going to see, I don't know, same example, Into the Woods, the film version, they felt like two very different things. Same with Les Mis, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because obviously the you've got the example of like The Lion King as well, like The Lion King starting as a film and then the West End, the stage version even. Because I mean, like they do share a lot of similar characteristics, and I definitely say that the soundtrack to Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of my favorite musical soundtracks.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure a lot of people would say the same about like Mary Poppins, or they're not really in style at the moment, to be fair, although they're kind of coming back. What with Great Showman and Hamilton and everything like that. And also there is the new Mary Poppins film coming out, of course, this year,
which is terrifying.
Yeah, Emily Blunt though, great choice, really great choice.
So risky.
Very, yeah.
So hopefully risky as a concept, not to cast her, but just as a move to sequelize something.
As long as they don't Independence Day it and ruin the original by releasing a new version. In terms of the producers, would absolutely be one of my favourites.
Oh yeah, definitely Mel Brooks.
I mean, that's another one actually, where there was the play, and then there was the film. Hang on, no, there was the film, then there was the play, then there was the film of the play. Yeah, about the. Because there was a film about a play, then they made a play about a film about a play, and then they made the film based on the play based on the film based on the play. Yeah,
it sounds like Inception the musical.
Yeah, except it's significantly funnier. Yeah, that would definitely be up there for me,
and easier to follow.
Yes, although there was a video I watched actually recently that was all the, because you remember how if we go down a layer in Inception, everything slows down by 60 times.
Yeah.
There was a video where somebody did everything in Inception as it happens in real time. So the van falling off the bridge in the real world happens in real time, and then you see everything on it's because there are 4 levels. You see everything happen as it sped up respectively, which was pretty cool.
That is cool, actually.
What else is there? I mean, there's definitely some like I do like a lot of the classic Disney stuff.
Yeah, definitely. To me, they're different to a musical, though. Like I love.
Although you're saying that, like Beauty and the Beast was made into a Tony Award-winning musical, and basically the song stayed the same. Like Aladdin's just been made in.
The song stayed the same. Yeah,
the song stayed the same. To do calculate.
For the bondulance of having a stronk. Anyone's seen that fine piece of memery?
Excellent memery.
It's gorgeous.
Aladdin's just been done in the West End. Like I don't know. That's definitely not what you've been asking, Kieran.
Yeah, but thought-provoking stuff, Kieran. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'd like to take this moment to interrupt scheduled broadcasting for a quick message. Simon and I are recording considerably earlier in the week this week. We're not going to say which day it is because that would give away the magic of production. But the reason we're doing that is we're wanting to give you readers as much time as possible to email in. Because very excitingly, for the first time, we have a special guest on next week's episode.
Ooh!
It's
Chinese
very exciting.
fireball!
I mean, I'm really excited. I know Simon is. And hopefully our guest is too. But yeah, email in anything. We're not going to tell you who it is. We're not going to tell you what it does. But yeah. Send us as much in as possible. It can be as vague or specific as you like. It's not going to make a difference because you're not going to know who it is until next week anyway. But this is just a kind of signposting moment to let you know that we are keen for those dem sweet emails. Send them in, please.
And now we have I don't know, possibly too early to tell, maybe triumphant return to the podcast of fan fiction. Those of you who've been reading for a while may remember that we stopped reading out fan fiction after it all got a wee bit much, and Dan and I had rampant sex. I mean, no more needs to be said about that, really. But the author in question, Hannah Mueller, has come back and set out a list of apologies at the start of this email. So I'm going to read these out for you. Dear Simon and Dan, there are a few things I want to mention, clarify, and apologise for, much like that lack of Oxford comma. One, I only used phrases like the tiny man to avoid endless repetition of words and names, as I don't think I didn't feel totally ridiculous using them. To be fair, the tiny man, I mean, it worked, just saying.
Thanks, mate.
Again, why do you do this? Two, I did not feel any kind of joy or satisfaction while writing this. It was probably just as terrible as it was for you to read it, and I'm sorry. Wow. It's a genuinely very sincere apology, Hannah. Three, if there's ever going to be smut again, I need a ghost or co-writer. Good. Four,
yeah, wise.
The way Dan reads his own voice is just hilarious, but also that's not what you actually sound like.
Oh, thanks, Anna. That's good to know.
5, regarding the islands full of Germans, literally every place you could possibly travel to is full of Germans. Every time we go on a holiday, anywhere, there are just tons of Germans. We're everywhere. When did we say the island was full of Germans? Was that...
I have no idea.
I can't remember.
That must be that's a deeply ingrained niche reference to something that my brain cannot currently recall.
It might have been Malta or something. I don't know. But yeah, apparently bloody Germans, they're everywhere. 6, the way Dan sneezes. There's nothing more to be said there. Do you sneeze in a cute way?
Apparently I sneezed. I think so, maybe. Or maybe just a noteworthy way.
I included you in the edit. Yeah, there was a bit that I was nearly cut out, but it was kind of funny. Oh yeah, it was just disgusting sounding. It wasn't cute. That was it.
I see.
7, I would love to listen or read to episodes with guests we know from videos like Ed, Hugo, Corin, etc. on the podcast. Now, I've thought about this. We could do an episode with, for example, Ed or Hugo or Corin. If you listening to this, if you've heard about these people, maybe you've watched the Chapel Choir videos or the Bass Mile. Incidentally, today is the anniversary of the Bass One Beer Mile.
Oh, yeah.
We did it on Shrove Tuesday last year.
Wow.
What a ride.
How time flies.
I mean, yeah, goodness me. So yeah, if you'd like the sound of that, then email in, because I'm sure that certainly Ed would definitely love it if we were to include them. And number 8, I'm just so sorry for last week. So sorry. You know what, Hannah? That I think apology accepted, Captain Nida.
Totally. That's totally fine.
And at this point,
wasn't. I mean, it was scarring to read.
It really was.
The fact that I had to read that out loud, but it was quite funny. With hindsight, it did make me laugh.
But she promises that this week there is no smut. So I'm going to pass over to Dan. I'm going to be closing my little email tab. And over to you, Dan, to read the next chapter in The Time Traveller with the Extraordinarily Big Forehead. Actually, could you possibly maybe ignore the last episode? Can you recap what's happened in this story so far?
No.
Jolly good. Okay.
I refuse to look back. I will not cast my mind back to that traumatic time.
From memory, you are a time traveller. You appeared in the woods when I was running. I picked you up.
Oh, wow. Okay, deduction there. The title, Time Traveller. Well done.
My memory, if I just try and recall, I think you had a big forehead as well.
Oh, yeah, got it.
And I picked you up and I took you back home, and kind of you were getting used to the fact that it was the now time, modern day.
Modern day, as it's also known.
You touched yourself in the bath thinking about me, and you admitted to me you were a time traveller, and I think that was about where we're up to. For those of you who are new, I mean, yeah, it's about as weird as it sounds. Yes,
it is pretty hilarious though. As weird as it sounds, it's a funny read. So listen back, find those previous episodes, and marvel. Also, Hannah's amazing writing. This is you could not tell that she's I was going to try and use that as a compliment, but it sounded bizarre. I was going to say, you couldn't tell she's a German, like all Germans can't write. Her English is superb.
Oh, it is. It's certainly miles better than our German.
Okay, here we go. Settle down, everybody.
Here we go.
Readers, if you're listening, this is the perfect opportunity to pause the podcast and go and make yourself a cup of tea or coffee or hot and cold drink of your choice if you're a freak like Simon who can't drink hot drinks.
Hot
or cold.
Yeah, not and. My goodness. You can have.
Did I say and?
You said and. You can have a tepid drink if you want.
I mean, yeah. Iced tea.
Is that even okay? Yep, fair enough. Go for it. Yes.
Okay. Here we go. The Time Traveller with the Extraordinary Big Forehead, Chapter 7. The next morning, Simon woke up for a moment and he thought he just had a very confusing dream until he remembered what had happened the night before. Oh God. Still keeping his eyes closed, hoping reality would become a little bit less real, he carefully spread his arms to see if Daniel was still lying in his bed. Luckily, he seemed to be alone. And now slowly blinked, noticing that the sun had already risen and was now shining onto his bed where, less than 12 hours ago, No. Simon didn't even want to think about what happened the previous night. Oh, no, Simon. Jesus. Whoa.
I do not want to revisit that.
But where was Daniel? A part of him hoped
I don't know. You asked, you tell me.
Had left the flat and he'd never have to think about him again. But the part that was worried, the part that was worried, what might? Oh,
the penitent man will pass. The penitent man will pass.
I think there may have been a typo in this bit, so I'm just trying to figure it out. But...
Oh, you just praise her. She's got fantastic. She's so great. She's such a great writer. Oh, the bloody typo here.
Oh, I see. No, it's not. It's just a little bit of a garbled clause. A part of him...
Oh, all right. Jesus.
I'm an English student. I look out for these things. A part of him hoped the mysterious man... Okay, I'm going to draw attention to the bit that will make this part make sense. A part of him hoped the mysterious young man had left the flat and he'd have to think about him, never have to think about it again. But the part that was worried... What might happen to the time traveller from another century on the streets of modern Exeter outweighed the embarrassed parts. So, Simon, still moving slowly, got up, opened the door to the hallway, and quietly went downstairs to the living room, where he found Daniel sitting on the couch, looking as... Okay, the reason why the sentence is also garbled is because it's a 6-line sentence. The room where he found Daniel sitting on the couch looking at a newspaper as if it was some kind of magical item and not just a piece of paper containing the more or less important events of the previous week.
Just imagine you looking at it like
what?
Like holding it with your arms fully extended.
Yeah.
Like, what is this thing? Like rotating it.
To Dan, on the other hand, it was absolutely fascinating. It technically told him what was going to happen in the future, even though this future was already history. Suddenly, he startled because he heard the sound of footsteps on the stairs behind him. Obviously, it was only Simon who had woken up, but Daniel was still scared of every noise or movement in the shadows behind the doors or in the dark corners, and, to his defence, he had every reason to be frightened when he remembered what happened last night, before he went to Simon's room where they... No, he didn't want to think about that right now, or ever again. How could he act in such an unprofessional manner when there was great danger just waiting to get revenge on him? Suddenly, there was a loud bang, yeah there was, followed by the noise of a shattering glass, and the living room was filled with dark purple smoke. While Daniel sat on the couch, scared to move or even breathe, Simon jumped backwards and pressed his body against the wall behind him. When the smoke had almost entirely vanished, the two men could see a creature, which seemed neither to have a solid shape nor a face like anything they'd encountered before in their lives.
What?
When it slowly began to move towards Daniel, not touching the ground as if gravity didn't have any effect on it.
It looks ghastly!
Simon screamed, "It's super effective!" Simon started screaming in fear, trying to make the young man get away from the creature, but Dan didn't move.
So I started screaming in fear in an attempt to get you to move away.
Yeah.
So I have this ghastly thing in front of me, and I'm looking at you like with
Screaming.
eyes wide with fear. Like my body is pointed at the ghastly, and my eyes are looking at you like ah! Ah!
He knew these things, and even though their appearance had never had good consequences, they themselves were completely harmless. Their job was usually to deliver messages, not rarely containing threats, to targets of the cult they belonged to. The creature started to speak to Daniel quickly, and quickly turned around to Simon to give him a sign to be quiet. So this creature's telling you to, shut up. Okay. We need a voice for the creature.
It's going to be really... It's not the Ross Hornby goblin voice, but it's like a kind of shadowy, kind of disgusting, low guttural, but also breathy kind of voice.
Okay. Low guttural, but breathy.
Yeah.
Got you.
Like a kind of, I don't know, how fuck mathematics kind of sound.
That's lovely. Wow.
See? It sounds ghastly.
Here we go. Ready? Ready, steady, go.
We're coming to get you.
I'm also
There's
Australian.
no way to escape. We're coming to get you, mate.
G'day, cunt.
There's no way to escape.
Oh, that's actually quite painful. Hang on.
That's what you said last episode.
Whoa.
There's no way to escape once the last ray of light from the moon has left the night sky and the planet Earth prepares for yet another rotation around the devil's golden eye, and you, my friend, will be stuck forever between the ticking of the clocks which create the miracle of life but after making it go on for some time, recklessly, destroy their creations, which is what we should have done with you a long, long time ago.
The strange creature backed away from Daniel and slowly disappeared through the wall, leaving behind a shivering Simon and Dan, who was still unable to move.
That sounds so terribly polite.
What?
I'm imagining
What bloody hell? What was that? Simon whispered, still shivering.
You know,
I've heard them before.
previous shot,
Sorry, go on.
it's just finished talking. Like, as it's talking, the camera's getting closer and closer, and the background, like Edgar Wright style, is getting like darker and darker and darker. And then suddenly, and it started moving backwards. Like, you're suddenly back in a wide shot, and it's all perfectly lit, and it's just like kind of awkwardly seems out of existence.
I've heard of them before, Daniel answered, with a mix of different expressions that Simon couldn't quite understand on his face.
I know that there's some kind of omen, usually not a good one. I just can't recall their name, but they belong to a group of people believed to be wizards and witches that live next to the river.
He thought out loud, but he quickly corrected himself.
Lived, I guess. I can't quite believe this.
He vaguely pointed at his surroundings.
It's actually real. This isn't a situation I ever planned to be in. I'm just as clueless as you.
Well, if they're actually serious about this, we definitely need a plan, Simon responded.
I might have something in mind. Do you happen to possess a map of Great Britain?
The two men spent all evening planning and researching information on the internet, which fascinated Dan more than anything he'd seen before. Hang on, if my mind was blown by a newspaper, I must have passed out at the sight of the internet.
I mean, to be fair, if I was a time traveller, I'd be like, hold the f***ing phone. I know we got like a shadow demon from the realm between here and the moon. But
if you're a time traveller, you literally would have said, hold the phone, What is a phone?
Yeah. What is this thing? It's like the classic 1593 called, and they were like, Preathi, what is this box which maketh noise? But like, if you were like that, shown the internet, you'd just be like, whoa, I don't care that I'm being hunted. What? I can look at boobies whenever I want? This is amazing.
This is fantastic. This is just like magic.
Boobies. It's just like magic.
The two men spent all evening planning and researching information on the internet, which fascinated Dan more than anything he'd seen before, and in the end, they came up with an idea that sounded just crazy, but also happened to be the only chance they would get to prevent that the most certainly dangerous people from the past and their plans succeeded. End of chapter 7.
Okay, bloody hell, Hannah. Okay, so...
Bloody hell, said Ron.
Bloody hell, said Ron.
What a twist.
So,
what a weird purple thing that sounded bizarre and went Australian for a bit and then hurt my throat, so I had to kind of change it.
So it's a shadow creature, and it comes from the realm that was going to like take back Dan's time travel powers.
I think so, I guess. Or
it was. I love the exposition then.
Yeah, they never had. They certainly. He knew these things, and even though their appearance never had good consequences, they themselves were completely harmless. Their job was usually to deliver messages, not rarely containing threats, to targets of the cult they belonged to.
Okay, well, I mean...
So I'm a target for this cult.
We're definitely going to have to read out the next chapter.
Hannah, you're back. You're back in style. It's good.
Yeah, you're back. Good. Goodness me. Okay, and then do you want to finish off the script?
Yes. So, Simon, what have we learnt today? But obviously that's me. That was me.
Well, Daniel, we've been looking at Billy Austin, an English professional footballer who plays.
Holy shit! I completely forgot that's where we started.
Welcome to the Wikicast, everyone. It's meant to be about Wikipedia, but we actually talked about. Oh my God, what did we talk about?
Jesus, everything and anything.
I don't even know if we can give a summary this time around. I genuinely don't know if we can. We talked about bollocks for a bit. Like we talked about Amsterdam and Vidcon for quite a while.
Yeah, we talked about people who died in 1900.
And also Johan Johansson, who sadly died now.
Yeah.
Our favourite directors that we want to interview.
Yeah. We mentioned that we've got a very exciting guest next week.
Yes, so please
send... We are craving for your emails, so email in, please. spongyelectric@gmail.com.
No, spongyelectric
at gmail. Shh, they'll never know the difference.
And you can also send us...
spongyelectric@gmail.com.
And as well as please sending us your messages for our guest, you know, make them your ordinary emails to the show, but bear in mind we will have a guest here. Or you can also send us our emails to Crisis Corner, which we'll anonymise. And you know, I personally really look forward to those. I like tackling an issue a bit more seriously. And we had a good one this week talking about chronic illness. And then we also finished off with an amazing fan fiction, which has just changed the game as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Hannah, she's back. Everyone, round of applause for Hannah.
My hand's just made a circle, just to let you know.
Nice.
Round of applause.
And that's all for this week's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcasting service of choice. You can like us on Facebook, and if you'd like to see our faces, check out our YouTube channel, Spongy and Electric.
Shadow monsters from an alternative dimension, emails for our guest, and other thoughts on the show can be sent to us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
Join us again for another tumble down the wiki rabbit hole. And we'll see you next time. And that's all for this week's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcasting service of choice. I sound so bored. Hang on, can I do that again, please?
Sure.
And that's all for this week's episode. Don't forget to do some and listen to the next week. Bye-bye.